What does it take to become the greatest of all time? What does it take to be unrivaled by anybody else in your sport? Well, for Babe Ruth and Tom Brady, it took extreme skill. For LeBron James or Michael Jordan, take your pick, it took a lot of athleticism. For Novak Djokovic, it took precision, speed, and power that no tennis player has ever possessed before. Now, I'm not what most people would call athletic. Just look at me. I have noodle arms, a small chest, and not the same power that these other athletes have, which is why I tend to focus on more unconventional sports, if you can call them that. Chess has Magnus Carlsen. Classic Tetris, which is an amazing thing to watch, has Jonas Neubauer. In trivia, well, the most famous trivia player of all time is certainly Ken Jennings of Jeopardy fame. And that right there is the only one that I can truly help with. So with that, my name is Lodrin, you're a bunch of nerds, and welcome to Quizbowl 101. This is the first episode of this new video series I'm starting in which I teach all of you guys how to get better, how to compete well, and how to learn more in order to exceed at the activity of Quizbowl. Now I know many of you are looking at the screen now and being like, what? Since when does this exist? What the heck is a quiz bowl? Well, the answer is it's trivia. And in its most simple form, it's trivia questions of one team of four players against another team of four players competing to score the most points. It is played at the middle school, high school, and college level and has consumed my life for the past 6 years. If you don't know how to play Quizbowl, I'm going to link an amazing video done by NAQT, our national governing board that teaches you how to play. I'll probably make another video later teaching you, but the importance for now is it's trivia. And the reason that I'm starting this course is threefold. Firstly, to create generalists. If you know anything about Quizbowl, many teams have specialized areas of study. When you have four players who are willing to study, it makes sense to distribute different tasks, different topics, so that not everybody is studying the same stuff. However, I believe that Quizbowl is most fun played as a generalist, which is why this course is going to help people become generalists because it's such a basic level information. Secondly, to introduce new phases to Quizbowl. Many people in the country have no idea this even exists, and my goal through this video series is to help a few people at least get interested in and join their school's Quizbowl team. And finally, the third reason is to strengthen middle school and novice Quizbowl players. I'm not going to be able to teach you everything about Quizbowl. Much of it has to be studied on your own. However, what I can do is teach you the basics, teach you how to study more, and show everybody watching these videos how to get started as a Quizbowl player. Now we have to break down how is this going to happen, to which there was a very complicated process made up of many different videos. The first video after this introduction one will be a huge course test. I will be using my favorite website on the entire internet, which is QB Reader, to take a long test made up of hundreds of toss-ups, many bonuses, to basically diagnose where I am in the activity of Quizbowl. After this, we will move on to specific units. If we go to this page here, we can look at the categories that Quizbowl is mostly taught in. The main ones are literature, history, science, and fine arts, with bonuses religion, mythology, philosophy, social science, current events, geography, and pop culture. Now, all of these categories we will go through unit by unit, basically like you would in a school class. The first unit will be literature, and it will begin with another placement test. This placement test will basically be on only literature questions, and it will be testing your general knowledge. Then, there will be individual topic videos. There will be one on American, British, classical, European, along with these side categories such as drama and poetry. After we have done all of these individual topic videos, we will have a final test in which hopefully your results will be much better than they were at the beginning of the unit. Now, the individual topic videos themselves will be filled with a couple of things. Firstly, I will do basic recaps of the most famous parts of that topic. For example, for American literature, I will give you a brief plot recap of The Great Gatsby. Maybe I'll talk about To Kill a Mockingbird or some famous poets from American literature. Basically, the bare essentials that you need because they come up so frequently in literature. But also in these videos, and I personally think more importantly, I will teach you what I know about studying Quizbowl. Because as I have been studying over these past 2 years extremely hard for Quizbowl, I have picked up many tips that I think I can pass on to you guys. These tips will make up the majority of the video and hopefully encourage you to continue to study these topics on your own. So the basic breakdown of the course will be this. We will begin with literature, because this is what I've studied the most in the last year. We will then move on to religion and mythology, which we will combine because they're not huge categories. These are the two that I would say I'm the most confident on my own ability in. We will go to philosophy and social science, which is going to be a very short unit, as there really aren't that many philosophers and social scientists you need to know. We will then do history, which is a topic I know very little about, so we can kind of learn together. We will go on to science, in my opinion, the hardest category in all of Quizbowl. Then we will go to fine arts, which is a lot more fun than it may seem on the surface. And finally, we will end with a short unit on current events, geography, and pop culture. The reason this is going to be so short is because I think for current events, well, I can't teach you current events because they're still happening. For geography, there's simply way too much to teach in any sort of video, in any short video. There's no possible way I can really teach you everything you need to know for geography. And for pop culture, because it is a huge category that can pull stuff from internet brain rot all the way to old 80s music. And therefore, it's not the easiest to teach. But now we will go over more of the specifics of this website. Now, QB Reader was created by Jeffrey Wu, a former Quizbowl player from Columbia University. He actually probably still plays there. And basically, it is a question reader. For example, right now, I can start, and it will read me a toss-up question. I can then look at this question. This is actually a really difficult question. I don't think I know this one. I think it's just Buddhism? Nope, Jainism. Anyway, I got that wrong. It's kind of embarrassing for me. But this is the basics of what this website does. But also, it has a multiplayer mode in which you can go online with people. For example, I can hop into the literature room. There is one other person online, apparently. And we can compete against each other. These multiplayer mode is usually pretty dead, especially during the summer. So you're unlikely to find people on it. But during the school year, you can go online and play against friends, other people from your school, or just random people on the internet. Thirdly, and probably most importantly, this website has a database where you can search anything. I can search Tetris, which is an amazing activity that you should watch. And I can see questions about Tetris. This one is about the Game Boy Color. This one's about the NES. And basically, I can find all the different areas that Tetris is in. Now, this is much more useful, of course, when you're actually studying someone, such as Napoleon. As you can say Napoleon, you can put in as the answer only, and then you can put in difficulties as easy in regular high school. Once I search this up, I spelled Napoleon wrong. That's kind of embarrassing. How do you spell Napoleon? We are going to go with his last name, because I do not know how to spell. And this will give you only questions whose answer is Napoleon. This is a great way to finding clues that are repeated. For example, root skirt. Well, if I search that up, never mind. Married a womb. Well, if you see, this actually pops up multiple times in different questions. Therefore, this might be something that you want to note. The database on QB Reader is absolutely amazing for studying, and we'll be using it a lot this course. Now, we have to discuss why you should watch this series. As I'm just a random guy on the internet who has been playing Quizbowl a while and is quite good at it, but ultimately, is there really a point of watching these? To which I say, there probably is. Now, I would say there are 5 main camps of people who are currently watching this video. The first, and most likely rarest, is the very few people who are watching this because they like me. Now, I think I am decently entertaining, and I think I can talk pretty well as I do compete in speech and debate. But ultimately, this is going to be a very small number of you. I will be making some jokes, but really, not many of you are here for this. More importantly, I have to address the people that want to learn something. If you're here to just learn trivia, I don't really think this is the right course for you, as when I'm going through these videos, my main discussion is not going to be teaching you about fine arts. Rather, it will be mentioning certain famous paintings like the Mona Lisa or the Arnolfini wedding, but more importantly, teaching the audience how to better study these things themselves. So if you're just here to get general knowledge, I would suggest you go to other YouTubers. One I could suggest is something like Veritasium or Vsauce if you're interested in science. There's this amazing YouTuber, I believe his name is Geography Nerd, who just makes pure geography videos. If you want to learn about geography, don't come here, go to his channel. Now, the other three groups of people I think this course is useful for. The first is people such as myself that have been around Quizbowl for a very long time, are absolutely obsessed with it, and just want to consume as much content as they can. I believe there's a severe lack on YouTube of Quizbowl content, and I hope to somewhat fill that niche, as ultimately the main videos you can watch on YouTube are just practice rounds or national rounds done by NAQT. And I think after a while you watch most of them, and this truly just gets boring. So hopefully I can help you become a generalist and just show you a part of Quizbowl that you may not have seen before. Now the second to most useful group of people is completely new players. These are people that have never competed before, are hoping on joining the team this year, and just want to know where to get started, which I think these videos are going to be great for. However, I will say that many of the things that I will be suggesting in this video are individual study techniques. And individual study techniques, especially for a new player, can be a little bit daunting, as it may be hard to commit a lot of outside time to Quizbowl. Hopefully, these videos can at least give you an introduction to the many topics that you can then apply in team practice as we go into the fall school year. And finally, the group that I think this video is most useful for is beginner Quizbowl competitors who want to get more involved. This would have been me as an 8th or ninth grader. People that have played Quizbowl for 2 or 3 years, gone to a couple tournaments, but have never before studied it on their own. And really, they don't even know where to start. I think these videos are going to be great for both teaching you facts about the basics of Quizbowl, and more importantly, for showing you how you can study for Quizbowl, and showing you how you can get better at this activity that hopefully you find some enjoyment in. Once again, there's not really anything on YouTube talking specifically about Quizbowl. Most of the Quizbowl content on YouTube is just rounds from the highest level. And when you're hearing questions about the most random historical figures, or the Whiskey Rebellion, when you're just getting started in Quizbowl, is going to be difficult. So instead, I want to provide a place that is just the basics. On Quizbowl, if we go back to QB Reader real quick, we will only be looking at the very basics of it. This includes topics such as, oh, sorry about that. This will be the most basic difficulties, such as easy high school and middle school. I will do a bit of regular high school stuff, but the majority of this course is going to be spent on these two topics here. The reason for this is because I think for most people that want to learn at a regular or hard high school level, you're better off doing it on your own. However, if you are somebody who is just getting started, I hope that I can show you, and I hope that I can present to you at least one way in which you can study. So why am I doing this? Well, the most basic reason is because I love Quizbowl, and I want you to as well. So if you are someone who has never played before, maybe look into it. If you're someone that's been playing for years, hopefully these videos will provide some entertainment. And if you're somebody who wants to get better at Quizbowl but has no idea where to start, I think this series will be perfect for teaching you the basics of how to study and get better at this activity that we love. So with that, I'm going to leave you there with promise in the future for the more dedicated Quizbowl players, as once I'm through Quizbowl 101, I will hopefully be able to go in more specific courses, such as mythology and religion, which I mentioned I know a lot about. I want to do a course called Lodrin's Literature, where I go super in-depth into all the different literature categories, because I think that is by far the most fun way to study is literature, as just reading books or reading Wikipedia summaries of books is a ton of fun. So without further ado, I've been Lodrin, thank you for watching, and goodbye.